Diffusion of responsibility is a psychological phenomenon that reveals the darker side of human nature, where individuals abandon their moral obligations in the presence of others. This concept is eerily relevant to our daily lives, as it can be seen in bystanders failing to intervene in emergencies or groups rationalizing harmful behaviors. As we delve into the intricacies of diffusion of responsibility, you'll discover how this insidious phenomenon can turn ordinary people into silent accomplices to tragedy. One of the key frameworks that helps explain this phenomenon is the concept of de-individuation, a theory developed by psychologists like Philip Zimbardo. De-individuation occurs when individuals lose their sense of personal identity and responsibility in group settings, leading to a decrease in self-regulation and an increase in impulsive behavior. This can be seen in cases where bystanders fail to intervene in emergencies, as they may feel a sense of anonymity and reduced personal accountability. Another important theory that contributes to our understanding of diffusion of responsibility is the bystander effect, first studied by John Darley and Bibb Latané in the 1960s. The bystander effect suggests that the presence of others can actually decrease the likelihood of an individual intervening in an emergency situation, as each person assumes someone else will take responsibility. This phenomenon is often attributed to a diffusion of responsibility among group members, where each individual feels less personally responsible for taking action. My colleagues in the field have also noted that social influence plays a significant role in diffusion of responsibility. When we are surrounded by others who are not intervening, it can create a powerful social norm that reinforces our own inaction. This can be seen in cases where group members rationalize their behavior by saying, "Everyone else is doing it," or "No one else is intervening, so why should I?" In this study, participants were placed in a room and asked to complete a survey, while another person, an actor, was in the adjacent room. The actor would then simulate a seizure, and the researchers measured how long it took for the participant to report the emergency. The results showed that when participants believed they were alone, 85% reported the emergency within minutes. However, when participants believed there were others present who could also report the emergency, only 31% intervened. These findings have important implications for our understanding of human behavior in emergency situations. They suggest that diffusion of responsibility is not just a product of individual apathy or indifference, but rather a complex phenomenon influenced by social and psychological factors. In my experience with clients, I've seen how diffusion of responsibility can manifest in subtle yet profound ways. For instance, a person may feel hesitant to speak up against bullying or harassment in their workplace because they assume someone else will address the issue, or they might rationalize their own behavior by saying everyone else is doing it, even if it goes against their personal values. Understanding diffusion of responsibility can help us develop strategies for overcoming this phenomenon in our daily lives. By recognizing the social and psychological factors that contribute to it, we can take steps to promote a sense of personal responsibility and accountability, both individually and collectively. This might involve encouraging open communication and empathy in group settings, or creating environments where individuals feel empowered to speak up without fear of reprisal. As we explore diffusion of responsibility further, it's essential to acknowledge the controversies surrounding this topic. Some researchers argue that the bystander effect is not as pronounced as initially thought, while others contend that diffusion of responsibility is a more complex phenomenon influenced by various contextual factors. These debates highlight the need for continued research and nuanced understanding of this psychological phenomenon. In everyday life, recognizing diffusion of responsibility can help us become more aware of our own behavior and the social norms that influence it. By acknowledging the potential for diffusion, we can take proactive steps to promote a culture of responsibility and empathy, whether in our personal relationships, workplaces, or communities. This might involve setting clear expectations for behavior, encouraging open communication, or simply being mindful of our own actions and their impact on others. The case drew widespread attention due to reports that dozens of bystanders witnessed the attack without intervening. While the details of the case have been somewhat disputed, it remains a powerful symbol of the diffusion of responsibility phenomenon and the importance of promoting personal responsibility and empathy in our daily lives. One fascinating area of research is the role of group size and anonymity in facilitating diffusion. Studies have shown that as group size increases, individuals become less likely to take personal responsibility for their actions. This can be attributed to a sense of diffusion, where each person assumes others will bear the responsibility. The concept of de-individuation also plays a significant role in diffusion of responsibility. De-individuation refers to the loss of self-awareness and accountability that occurs when individuals are part of a large group or anonymous crowd. In such situations, people may feel less inclined to take personal responsibility for their actions, as they believe their behavior will go unnoticed or unattributed. Key researchers like Philip Zimbardo have extensively studied de-individuation and its relationship to diffusion of responsibility. Zimbardo's famous Stanford prison experiment, conducted in 1971, demonstrated how easily normal, well-adjusted individuals can become perpetrators of abuse when placed in situations that foster anonymity and diffusion of responsibility. Another crucial aspect of diffusion of responsibility is the bystander effect, which we touched upon earlier with the Genovese experiment. However, it's essential to delve deeper into the psychological mechanisms underlying this phenomenon. According to social psychologists like Bibb Latané and John Darley, the bystander effect can be attributed to two primary factors: pluralistic ignorance and diffusion of responsibility. Pluralistic ignorance occurs when individuals in a group assume that others are more knowledgeable or responsible for taking action, leading to a collective failure to intervene. Diffusion of responsibility, on the other hand, refers to the tendency for individuals to assume that others will take responsibility for acting, thereby diffusing their own sense of personal responsibility. Understanding these psychological mechanisms is crucial for developing effective interventions aimed at promoting pro-social behavior and reducing the negative consequences of diffusion of responsibility. For instance, in workplace settings, encouraging open communication, fostering a sense of community, and establishing clear expectations for behavior can help mitigate the effects of diffusion. In therapeutic contexts, addressing diffusion of responsibility may involve techniques like cognitive behavioral therapy or group therapy, which aim to increase self-awareness, promote personal responsibility, and enhance empathy. By recognizing the social and psychological factors that contribute to diffusion of responsibility, individuals can develop strategies to overcome this phenomenon and cultivate a greater sense of accountability in their daily lives. The implications of diffusion of responsibility extend far beyond individual behavior, as it can have significant consequences for community cohesion and social justice. In cases of bullying, harassment, or other forms of social injustice, recognizing the role of diffusion can help individuals and communities develop more effective strategies for promoting positive change and holding perpetrators accountable. To illustrate this point, consider a scenario where a group of coworkers witness a colleague being bullied by a supervisor. If each individual assumes someone else will report the incident or take action, the collective failure to intervene can perpetuate the abuse. By acknowledging the potential for diffusion and taking proactive steps to promote a culture of responsibility and empathy, individuals can work together to create safer, more supportive environments. In conclusion, our exploration of diffusion of responsibility has revealed the profound impact that social norms, group size, and anonymity can have on our willingness to take personal responsibility for our actions. The key takeaways from our discussion are clear. Recognizing the potential for diffusion is crucial for promoting a culture of empathy and accountability. And by acknowledging our own role in perpetuating or preventing diffusion, we can work towards creating safer, more supportive environments. As we navigate the complexities of modern life, understanding diffusion of responsibility is more relevant than ever. In an era where social media can both unite and isolate us, it's essential to remain aware of the subtle yet powerful forces that shape our behavior. By embracing this awareness, we can become more mindful of our actions and their impact on others, fostering a deeper sense of community and social responsibility. As you reflect on your own experiences with diffusion of responsibility, consider this thought-provoking insight. The next time you witness a situation where someone is being bullied, harassed, or marginalized, will you assume someone else will take action? Or will you take personal responsibility for creating positive change? The choice is yours, and the consequences of that choice can be profound. That's all for today's Psych with Sigmund. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, may your ego find balance between pleasure and reality.